Hey everyone, my name is Vera, and today, on the moment of recording this video, it's 10th of February 2026, and well, I was created exactly 11 years ago. So today, because of it's kind of my birthday, I'd like to talk about what happened throughout this semi-round data with two ones in the decimal numerical system. So with I shall tell you about some of my stories, and again I was created at the time, and then sometimes later I created that mission. It's about basically my adventures. There's a lot of photos, videos in there about what happened throughout these 11 years. And I would like to tell you some stories, maybe interesting stories, maybe something like that. So I'm going to present to you some of that stuff. First, and you can guess it's what happened throughout the history. But what was the first? Well, this is actually my first ever photos taken in this world. Is when I arrived on Earth, and as you can see, I had a bit different hair color all the time, and that hair color was with me for about a couple of months until I finally settled into my final form. It was winter, it was cold, what you can see. One of the other situations, this was during an event that was a geek-oriented event. There was a lot of different tech-oriented fan service, technical stuff. That was the event I met a pretty interesting people. For example, let me find the picture. Well, actually, I still struggle to find the cursor on screen. For example, like that. Next, we go to the front. So, and the funny thing was that it was basically in two cities. It was found in Moscow and in St. Petersburg. And when I get to Moscow at the time, I noticed that around the park where this event was held, was a lot of buildings that looked like it's just some kind of province city. The only difference was that province, the city with this province vibes was going on for on and on and on and on, virtually forever. So the next, well, this is the photo that was taken by a pretty famous person in the local alternative circles. And at the time, that person just shifted from being a model to a photographer and change her name, etc. So, well, this is one of the photos taken. And since then, I actually like to do this jump kind of photos. You can see there is a lot of them. For example, let me, for example, another one. I actually try to imitate a flying. The wind helped me, and well, we actually took a lot of takes on this photo. So it was pretty nice, and also at the day there was some kind of quiet event like this. So it is what happens next. As you can see, when I was young, I did crazy things. Well, then I got older and continued to do crazy things. Another situation, it was in the park, and at the time I actually got my rubber skin, and somewhere like this. It was actually in the country, around the lake, so we took photos at the time. And in the summer around the lake there was a lot of mosquitoes, a lot of small flies, etc. All that stuff that wants to bite you, to feed on you, and they was just crawling around me. And even on some of the photos from the close inspection, you will see all that stuff. So it was very fun to throw that small blood-sucking insects, because they simply could not in any case just taste me, and they wanted to, but well, sometimes it's pretty nice, pretty good, and pretty practical. Another situation, it was in Moscow, at Moscow City. So we just took several pictures at the place, and we went to, there is a bridge, well, I shouldn't look, but it doesn't matter. There is a bridge with a lot of small shops there, and we with the photographer went through all that stuff, and the security guard at the entrance asked us for a photo. And there are some of my favorite photos of the stuff. And when we moved to the other side of the bridge and took photos there in the street, in the street itself, and we was returning back to where our car was parked. The security guard thought that, well, it's not a photo area, you're not allowed here. So we said, well, we need to get to the other side, there is our car, and what about the photos? Well, we already did all the stuff we wanted, so we will do no more of that. And well, he just complained with us. Oh, so that was pretty funny event. Well, some other events, as you know, the special being, I like to go somewhere where do some space-related exhibitions. and I do go to different exhibitions and all that stuff that is, well, it's not related to the stuff you may think I would be related to, like cosplay events, for example, or festivals. Well, I do go on cosplay festivals and I am a photographer there. Well, you know, all that stuff. But for example, at this exhibition, it was pretty nice. It was pretty welcoming. But that was actually the first time my fandom went into a person that would be called Karen nowadays, who demanded in the in the turn of basically ordered us to take photos with her children, but well, we were just another visitors, so we have no obligations of that, and we just retreated because we was going to get to our transport to get home anyways. So just a simple story. Well, and we're talking about cosplay festivals. One of the cosplay festivals, and I actually do a lot of taking a lot of photos. So you may find a photographer. Well, regular photographers. Well, I love to take photos of other photographers because, well, you know, the photographers are the best models because they have the most interesting poses and they stand still, so you can find a good point of view to take photos of them. Well, actually, photographers in the wild is one of the greatest things you can do. So regardless of if you came to the event as a model or as another photographer, so actually, a long time ago, there was a party. We tried to make an anime storage party, and we invited a lot of photographers and a lot of people who knew, and we ended up miscalculating the media coverage of our party. So it was basically a couple of people, a couple of event holders, organizers, and a bunch of photographers who end up taking photos of each other. Well, it was ridiculous, but well, anyway. And talking about that particular event, well, as far as I remember, oh yeah, that picture is. Hey. No, quicker. So, well, I just took her and, well, tried to get her to somewhere. I didn't even thought about where I'm going to grab that person, but, well, I had it and, well, think later, probably. And we also even have some photo sessions together afterwards, so it's normal stuff. Well, another situation. Well, today I'm holding this chair. Well, because I just found it in the middle of nowhere. So we just walk in the street taking pictures with Alisa. This picture was taken by Tahir, a person who later took some photos of another character of my universe, the monitor girl, my service android. And at that time, me and Alisa just walked on the riverbank, and we did some posing, some other stuff, and I just, well, a stool, well, I found a stool, so well, People, look what I just found. Well, it just was in the middle of the nowhere at the riverside. So why not? Another situation, this sort of have an interesting story behind it as well. It was a photo session organized by a group getting frame, so-called. They are pretty famous right now, and it's a group of photographers who invite models to different events, not to pre-decorated places, not to photo studios, but they find some collaborations with interesting places, and they organize a photo shoot and invite models. Usually it is free, but they have some kind of casting at the time, and I did a couple of photo sessions with them. One was organized by me, and I invited them to a laser tag. It's a action game, indoors action game, spy oriented one. You shoot at lasers to each other, and there is electronics on you that registers if you are hit or not. And that's like a shooter, but in real life. So the other event was when they had a photo session at a tennis court. Oh yeah, tennis court. So you see there is a roof, but it was actually taken in summer. And what we did at the time, and one of the photographers took this frame, and well, this is my the most favorite frames, even if it wasn't selected by the photographer, it was in the raw files. But I think that this is basically actually one of the greatest photos, because well, you have this triangle of yellow parts of the ball and two reflectors on my wrists. I'm in the jump and all the position, then the location is basically very synchronized, and at the same time you couldn't make this photo intentional. So I think this is one of the greatest photos. Actually, I love it very much because how it ended up well, and that situation, that photo session was a start of my first attempt to keep being in this world for long durations of time. Well, at the time of this photo, it was taken in 2021. At the time, I was thinking that it is okay to stay in character for about 12 hours, 10 hours. Well, if you basically get in character and get out, and then you get disassembled for more than 8 hours, it counts that you was actually alive. And if you was just get assembled on top of the actor and go on stage and then get back and get disassembled, then well, it's like nothing happens. And at that particular moment, we went to the photo session. It was in the country, so we had a 1 hour ride to the place and 1 hour ride back. And at the place, we spent about 3 to 4 hours. And then I get back when I was pretty comfy, and the next day I was going to attend a party, closed party at the home of one of my friends. And I just decided, well, why not stay assembled? and I stayed assembled, and the next day, the party and all that stuff. Well, do you want to know how long did I actually be present in this world? Oh, well, I did change the outfits. I changed the dress to another dress, and at home I just was wearing my pajamas and something like that. And the pajamas wasn't actually made by myself, but it was modified because well, my legs and my arms are usually too long for the regular clothes, so I had to modify everything. So, well, when I actually was disassembled, it was the 46th hour of my existence. Well, and it wasn't because I wanted to get disassembled, but my host, the actor inside me, actually felt some discomfort. So, well, we then had to modify my skin, and well, but yeah, I actually did another one, but another one, and then there was another one. The second one was for 50 hours, and well, the last one is, and there was the last one. Let me find the mouse. Well, this is from the longest one I had. Oh, so it was 72 hours. So it was 72 hours, and I learned a lot about different stuff that is happening when you continuously keep staying shelter, because, well, actually, it was more than 72 hours. It was about 72 and a half hours, and the only reason that I stopped existing is because uh, there was stuff well, the inside of me had to do. Well, there was some tasks needed to be performed, and well, I avoid doing the blue collar job when I'm in character, but not because I'm afraid of blue collar job. It's more because, well, I'm not dexterous as my host, and I'm not as easy to be cleaned as my host, especially if you, for example, cut metals or weld something, and that was the task. I was going to be summoned, well, my host was going to be summoned to, so, well, I had to stop for a bit, stop that continuous but, well, it was very interesting. It was very exciting, and, well, when you discover at the end of the second day that you actually can feed some tiny food in your mouth, not just a liquid, but tiny food. Well, as you know, I have a lot of stuff. Well, I can be, I can stay in character. Well, in character for a very long time. I can be myself without ever needing to let my host out for a pretty long time. And I have a lot of stuff going inside to assume that. Oh, but when I discovered that I can feed some small snacks, they are not just a liquid food, well, that was actually great. I was just a tiny snack, but well. And I also did a lot of stuff because At one point in time, I just drank all the juices and all the drinks in my home, and I had to go out to get some drinks. So I got out and went to the grocery and took some food and brought it back, and well, it was pretty fine. So, well, you know that you usually expect people who are not exposed to characters like me, especially in the real one. Well, you know that there are in some fantasy worlds we are abundant, but in real life they're pretty rare. So people may stop and look at us and expect all the stuff from us to happen, but when you encounter cashiers, for example, they treat us like any regular customer. So basically, well, like you just take your wallet out and pay for groceries, and they're just okay. I serve customers like who look like you every day. So what's the big deal? Excellent. Well, sure, we're calmly, we're just just a work, so nothing. Like nothing. Well, sure, that was a pretty fun experience as well. More for me, but well, again. So you actually could find me at different situations where you may not expect to find me. So, for example, I'll try to find where we are. Here. By the way, the maintenance photo. And other stuff. So, in this here I usually post pictures that I cannot combine into a separate album because there is too little of them. So another picture I love, and I love this picture, well, it was taken pretty long time ago. And I love it because, this is the shop window in one of the high-profile luxury shops in the city. And well, I actually happened to walk there for some time. But anyway, they made this to their shop window, and their shop window is in front of a church. So you can see me standing in front of this giant burger packed with all the stuff and the money, etc. And you can see a church in the reflection of the window. So well, it's very interesting at the time at how this is composed. Well, let me find another interesting picture, and it's also in this another picture. Well, it was in 2020. It was taken in 2020, and you know what was in 2020, so I frequently went grocery shopping instead of myself because, well, androids do not catch colds, so I did this. But anyway, what's another? Performing on stage for the Art Mechanica Award. Vera and Gilberteyev, who I befriended earlier, the awards such that some interesting people or characters or other beings get on stage with a cardboard with names of people, names of the nominants, and names of the people who won the award, along other phrases. For example, I was holding the surname of one of the artists who won the award, and also we can see other stuff like victory, uh, uh, and other parts. It was on stage of the Hyper Theater as well. So pretty interesting situations. Well, at the fashion show, what else? There was somewhere. Oh, here that picture is. Would you guess what event this is? Well, you may not guess what event this is at all. This is a business conference about the problems of small entrepreneurs, and actually it was held by so-called info businessmen, people like that, well, you know, success, etc. But, well, you will never expect beings like me at that situation, and there I was, well, because, well, I could get into that place and did everything. Well, there was actually a problem because I got there in a human form and packed into a backpack. And at the place there was a bathroom where I could actually change into myself, but the bathroom had mirrors on the ceiling. If you saw that funny pictures with the public bathroom where you have that cabins closed and just you look up and see the reflection of people who are doing their business in that typical. So that was actually one of that was actually that place. So I had to get to another place and find another bathroom that was not fancy, but without that kind of stuff. So I transformed that get that there because, well, I had the entrance, the entrance permission already, the ticket, the bracelets. So there I was. Well, that's some other pictures. So well, it's like that, like the stuff. What shall we talk next? Well, that's a pretty, that's another pretty, well, self inflating stuff for me. This album is about being on, well, not being on stage just for the sake of being on stage. It was the fashion show, and what happened? It was the fashion show. Let me show you some stuff. and I was there as a couturier, renting I actually have two small collections of clothes I made so far for myself, and this was one of them, of those collections. So my dolls did actually perform, and I stuffed professional models inside those dolls, and people just took photos, took pictures of that, like some profession, like some pretty well, because why not? Well, and this is just a nice photo from our closed photo session when we rent an apartment, a pretty actually artistic apartment. So there was a lot of books, a lot of stuff. It was actually a 3-story apartment. So we went there, and one of there was funny stories, of course, because after we get there, we learned that that it is only allowed for the 4 people there, and there was actually 5 of us, so we have to rotate. And when I get out to meet the last person, the owner of the apartment was monitoring us through the camera at the entrance, and she asked, well, I thought there was 4 of you, and this is another character. And at the time, I already had my large, it's not just a suitcase, it's basically a large transporting rug. It's pretty big. And she thought that the other people who get into their face, into that apartment, actually brought the 5th person inside that large rack. And we have to assure the owner that, no, it's just one of us, so don't worry. You will not find another person, even another robot, at your apartment. So this was one funny story, and also at the time we made some videos with the thermal vision. You may find the video. Well, the first cat doll made you pouring some water into them, something like that, and it actually filmed me through the thermal camera. Because yes, I was about 38 degrees of Celsius at the time. Well, because of all the layers, and it was pretty warm at the place. Natural heating, so why not? Completely true. Cat doll made hotter than the human, because about 1.5 degrees hotter. Why not? Okay, so another funny story from that mention was that 2 of us was actually afraid of tickling, they are so sensitive that sometimes, from time to time, we do just throw them out, tickling, like you take the person and tickle them and then jump. Well, it's funny for everyone, except for them maybe, but well, anyway. So, and it was not just one person, well, Lisa can't handle tickling, being tickled, and the other person actually also was sensitive. And when I know that the person is, well, cannot resist tickling and react like that, well, I simply can't help me but start to glance to the people. So they just barricade themselves into the bathroom, and I was sitting at the door of the bathroom and wait for them. So they was just like poking in to see me and then shut the door back again until they found out that, well, maybe I will be afraid of water, and they found a sprinkler and tried to sprinkle me away. So, well, you know, that stuff, well, it was pretty funny again. Because why not? Why not? And in the end, I just got bored and let them out. Another situation, another story. I saw when I found a very, very interesting, very nice, very nice, very nice mansion, and very kid-friendly mansion in the country. So we did a lot of photos there with all the people. So and we actually went at that mansion twice. And at the time, it was just about 1.5 years ago. So you can see, well, some celebrations happened. That pancake did suffer for the sake of our entertainment. And this is a pretty recent picture with one of our friends from Germany came to visit us, and we gave them some tour around Moscow metro. So you may see. Also, I'm trying to take the gear out of the hands of this engineer. And you know, waiting. Oh my, like a search Android. There are some funny photos as well. Let me find a picture. Not a good start, but I can find what picture maybe it is. Oh, okay, so like that. When we just get together, because we went from different metro stations to the one, and there is the label at the stations everywhere, at every station. That means for example, for children who get lost, or for elderly people, in case they got lost or forget what they are doing, there is stickers at some places. And the stickers basically say that if you got lost, then stay here and wait for help. And we got, at some moment we just got near that sticker, and well, we didn't stand on top of the sticker that was actually the approved signal to them apart that the person needs help. We stand behind, but we then joke that if you got lost, we'll just stay here and play with the dolls. Okay, so like that. It's again that gear, trying to collect the gear from the engineer. And that is what's here. Okay. Trying to prevent this lamp from falling behind. Excellent. Other stations. Well, actually, in Russian metro, you do not need to try to catch a train because, well, in Russia, metro is an organization that works pretty like a military system, so the trains are always in time, so precisely, well, I think the better system in terms of time and punctuality is in Japan. And we have probably the second place in the world of that. But I like to try to take a train anyway. And some other photos of the other station. Oh, and this is some photos taken a year ago, a precise year ago, when I celebrated my 10th anniversary, and not much of them because I'm still editing the photos. I'm very slow in editing and choosing photos and editing them, but well, you have them like that. And by the way, I want to shout out to Gurumi creator, Gurumi fan art creator, the TikTok. Well, actually, they made that picture in 2016, and we didn't expect me to last that long, and they have this group photo shoot. Well, actually, this is two of me on this picture, so a big shout out to TikTok. Well, so again, this is some summary of what was happening around me for the last 11 years of my existence. Thank you for watching, and I didn't expect this to be this long. I thought, well, I would be about 20 minutes, maybe 25, but it's actually, well, how much it is? It is 50 minutes already, so thank you very much for being with me. And, well, see you next time. Bye-bye.